Hi friends, it's Granny Doll here this evening, and I just thought while I'm working on turning the heel of my sock, I'm doing the flap right now, that I'd sit and have a bit of a chat with you and wondered how you were doing. I know Grace and I were talking this week about headaches, migraines, stormy weather, and if you kind of look out behind me in the window, well, here, over no that way you can see things moving around still. It's still kind of windy out. Been one of those weeks when you just didn't know if it was going to rain or blow or have a tornado watch warning, whatever. So it kind of made for a little bit of chaos. So what do I do when life becomes chaotic? Well, there's days, I have to tell you, that I just want to go back to bed and pull the covers up over my head. But that's not doable. It's not practical. It's not something that I can do. I have things to do. I have places to be and people to see and meetings to sit in on and all these other wonderful fun things. So that's how today went. Migraine started the day. I had a smoothie made with oat milk. I'm trying a non-dairy milk for a while and see if that helps my tummy. I had 2 sips of coffee after that, didn't even finish my coffee, and off we went. But when anxiety strikes and I get into my rocking chair, that's when I can settle myself. I've got my legs up on the stool. I pick up my knitting. I put on some YouTubes or a favorite show on TV. And I just find myself in the repetition of the stitches and oftentimes into my own thoughts. And before you know it, I finished what I was doing. Or I've made good progress on what I was working on. That's what I do when things get a little stressful and chaotic and I'm not ready to go for a walk, especially with the wind the way it was today. I got out of the car to get gas and I thought I was going to be blown away. So just something else as a little tip for you is I'm knitting this heel flap and I know I want 36 rows, but my app is underneath here holding everything up. So I'm just going to take one of my stitch markers, if I can, ta-da, and every row I finish, I'll just grab another one, and then when we're done having our conversation today, I'll add them all up, and there we'll go. So this is, I can't remember the title, it's a mermaid pattern that I've shown before here now. You can see the one row that I really messed up, but that's okay. By Summer Lee Design Co. I really like this one. Really, really like this. What I'm not sure of right now is whether or not to continue the mermaid scales down the foot. So underneath the foot it'll be plain knitting, but on the top of the foot, should I continue with the scales or just do plain knitting? So if you have an opinion, please let me know. For those of you who don't know, I am Granny Doll. I am living the 100-mile path, the 100-mile life, 160, 80-kilometer path. We're at whatever. Knitting one stitch at a time, cooking one meal at a time, living one day at a time. And it's working for me. It's definitely working for me. Just a little bit at a time, right? That's all you have to do. Because when you look at your whole day or you look at your whole evening, if you've worked all day and you come home and, you've got all these chores to do, what do I do next? It's like, I don't know. I don't want to do anything. Okay, so sit and don't do anything for a few moments, maybe even an hour. Take the time to regroup, to let your body shift from being in the outside world with a lot of people to being in your own sacred space, in your own little corner of the world. And not everybody wants to do that, but sometimes when you're out around a lot of people and decisions are being made, or you're driving, because the driving is absolutely crazy right now. That's my own personal opinion. You just need to pull yourself back. For some people, that's reading, and not reading anything in particular, just whatever draws your fancy, right? Some people, it's picking up the stitching and doing some English paper piecing, or continuing to work on that sweater that you haven't yet finished. As I say this out loud to myself, right? I need to finish my sweater. Oh my gosh. But it's just one stitch at a time. It's one step at a time. It's one meal at a time. See, even that can feel overwhelming, can't it? But it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to feel overwhelming. Sometimes it's connecting with a friend or a family member. Say, hey, how are you doing? How was your day? And sometimes they're in a spot like you are and just don't want to talk to you, don't want to talk to anybody. And that's okay too, right? We need to give other people the same grace that we would want them to give to us. I think that's what's really important there. So what am I doing? I'm sitting here working on the heel flap of this wonderful sock that I started in March. Put it aside to do the April sock. It was just hilarious. And I'm sipping on some homemade vegetable stock, which is leftover cut up vegetables from a dinner at the church. So there was celery, carrot, yellow pepper, red pepper, and then I cut up in chunks an onion. Oh, and there was carrots. So I just put that all in the pot with some water and boiled it down a bit, and then drained off some of the broth. And it's really soothing on my tummy right now. I'm having some digestive issues that are not a lot of fun. So I'm working with different food groups and just seeing what really sits well. So this is possibly not one of my normal videos for all of you who watched me before, but it is a vlog, so it's just me closing out the day, having a cozy conversation with you. Sunset tonight, I believe it said 9:05 in the evening, which is just wonderful. We're coming up on the summer solstice, and then everything is downhill from there. No. We still have the summer to get through, which is wonderful. But the days will start to get a little bit shorter once we hit the 21st of June. And I like the long evenings. We were sitting here about an hour ago, and I said, are we hungry? Because it was getting late for supper. And I went, oh. So we had a salad, and I got some cut meat ends from the grocery store. They had them marked down. And we had that with our greens and a half a tomato. Some strawberries were cut into that, local strawberries. It was so good. It was just so good. It was so good, in fact, as I'm sitting in this rocking chair, there's an arm here. The cat decided to sit on the arm with me because he wanted some of my meat. He's such a mooch. Anyway, where was I? So that was basically my 100-mile meal, because the salad greens came from the Bimbrook area, which isn't far from where we are here in Hamilton. So grown locally in their greenhouse. And the meat was sourced locally. Strawberries were local. The tomato were Ontario greenhouse, so I'm assuming fairly local to us. And some salad dressing that was prepared probably in the Toronto area. So that's still fairly close. 100 mile. And I was full, which was kind of nice too. Like I had enough. And then I decided to add this broth that had been heating since we got home this afternoon. And it's just, as you might say, the icing on the cake, right? It just tastes so good. So that's how my day has gone. I've been diligently working on this sock, and I did, before I left the house today, cut out some more pieces for some English paper piecing, which I'll share with you in a day or so. I don't know what I'm making with it at this point. I have a number of bookmarks that are done. So if anyone has an idea for me of what I could make other than a quilt, I want something smaller than a quilt to work on, and something that I can do kind of on my lap is what I'm looking at. So if you have ideas, please do let me know. But I think that's everything I have to share with you. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to share with you. Just let me put my knitting down for a second. I've been working on this wonderful wool that's hand spun, 3-ply, chain plied, purpley color is my favorite. I was working on a scarf, and I realized I wouldn't have enough when I finished spinning the rest of it to make that scarf, and I didn't like the idea of it being a cowl, so I frogged. And I'm working now on a 1-row pattern that I found from the Knitty Professor that she was using, and it's a free pattern online. And it's kind of a lace. So it's a 1-row repeat. Isn't that pretty? So I started over. I did this last night, and I'll work on it a bit this evening. I'm not a fan of using fat needles, I have to tell you. So these are a 6.5 millimeter or a US 10.5, I think is what it says. But the pattern is so easy that I don't really have to think about it too much. And because I'm making it a narrower piece, that it'll be a narrow scarf, but it'll be long enough. So that's kind of where I am with that. Gotta love it when you frog something. But you know, I got far enough into that process that I thought, I don't like this anymore. So let's do something I'm going to like, right? Let's do something I'm going to really enjoy. And so that's what I did. Well, friends, I think I've shared everything about today that I had intended. If you like my style of videos or my ramblings, if you will, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. It really does help as I move closer to my goal of having 1,000 subscribers. I'm a third of the way, so I'm really, really excited about that. And a few things are going to be popping up this summer that'll be fun. I am going to be prepping for Tour de Fleece, so stay tuned for that because I'm excited. I love Tour de Fleece, and if you don't know, we spin on wheel or spindle while the riders bike in the Tour de France. So the Tour de Fleece is coming up the first week of July, and I'll be talking a whole lot more about that, but there's excitement all around, and isn't that just wonderful? I think so. Just remember that you are loved, you are cared for, and Granny Doll here from Doll Can Create, knowing you can too. God bless till next time. Bye for now.